that things are connecting to our different platforms. I'm so excited here. Give me just 1 second. I appreciate your patience. We had a little bit of a hiccup getting live in a couple of different places, but I think we are good to go. You've got to love technology, right? I think we've all been there before. So we are just going to double check that we are streaming in the right places. As you guys are hopping on, please tell us a little bit more about, who you are and what you do, because that is the whole point. We should be using amazing videos like this to connect with each other and see who's going through the same types of things that we are going through. And so I'm just going to double check here and make sure that we are good. And if you are joining us live, please tell us who you are and what your business is so that we can connect with you. And I'm stalling here because it is not connecting in one location, which is just being weird right now. So I will have to figure out exactly what that looks like. But for now, we are going to go ahead and get started. All right, guys. So I'm Elise Smith, Christian business strategist, and you're watching the Divinely Driven Results live show, where we empower you with tools and strategies and techniques to take your business to the next level utilizing biblical business strategy. Yes, you can combine your Christianity with your business and have it be extremely powerful to fulfill the purpose that God has given you on this earth, which is to serve more people, right? That's really what we're trying to do. Of course, make the sales, but that means that we have a bigger influence that we can serve more people with. So you just kind of picture this here for just a second. You're having a wonderful sales conversation with a person who's almost exactly your divine client, the person you love to work with, the person that God wants you to work with. They seem to be really excited about your product or service, and you guys are really connecting in a strong and powerful way. And they even ask you how they can work with you. And you do a great job of presenting everything that you're going for. And, they are just about to say yes, right? You've had that moment, your heart's pounding. You're like, yep, I can really help this person, right? And for a minute, they were going to say yes. But then their fears hit them like a ton of bricks. Have you seen that moment in their eyes where it's like, oh, what am I about to do? Especially when you're selling a higher end product or service. And you can literally see that wash over their face. And they just say, I'm just not sure, right? Take courage, my sister, because it doesn't have to be a no at that point. That is exactly what we're going to talk about here today. Is just like we all do, in that moment, she is fighting her inner dream stealer. And so we have to understand how to help them make decisions based off of faith instead of fear. What could that do for your business if your prospects and your clients and the people that you're talking to actually made decisions off of faith instead of fear? And it looks like we've got Jill on the line with us here. Barbara, good morning. Good morning. So glad to have you guys. Think about how many more sales you'd make and how many more people's lives you would be able to impact if you're able to help people make decisions from faith over fear. So that's exactly what we're going to talk about. The six, I said six here, 6 keys to empowering your prospects to overcome their fears, because a lot of times that's what's holding us back. And I don't want you to think about like overcoming objections. I want you to think about guiding them through those objections, because it doesn't have to be a no in that moment. We need to squash that fear with the faith. So let's think for just a second of, what is her fear in that moment? Fear of failing, fear of succeeding. Honestly, sometimes we have more of a fear of succeeding than we do failure, because we know failure. We've been falling down since we were babies, but sometimes we don't know exactly how to keep success and how to maintain that success, or even how to get it sometimes. And so fear of succeeding is a real fear for a lot of people. Fear of investing in her business or her health or whatever solution that may be. Fear of investing is huge. Maybe there has been some past failed investments, right? Or fear of what others might think of her, like her spouse or her friends or her family. Fear that she can't do it. fear that this isn't going to be the right program or product or service to get the results that she's really looking for, and fear of almost everything in that moment, right? When we've got our inner dream stealer voice telling us that we are a failure or that we can't make good decisions, or, remember that time when you signed up for that one program and it did absolutely nothing for you, that's what's going on in our sweet sister's brain when you ask, are you ready to get started? Right? And so we have to really acknowledge that and come from a place of love and of guidance and of helping them to make those decisions, like I said, based on faith instead of fear. So they usually won't lead with fear. They usually won't say like, "Ooh, I'm afraid of making this decision," although sometimes people will. But usually it's coming from that sentence of, "I'm just not sure," or, there could be the smoke screen of it's money, right? "Ooh, I just don't have the money." And the thing is that that's hard to admit. That fear is hard to admit. And that's why objections are usually just smoke screens to something that's deeper going on, which is usually that fear. So, what do you do about it? Right? Don't you let her go and take those excuses, because it's not going to do either of you any good. Because the thing about it is that if she continues to make decisions off of fear, she may not ever get the thing that she's really hoping for. And so in this moment, you are lovingly going to come beside her, as opposed to, the heads butting kind of concept that everybody thinks about when it comes to overcoming objections. And even that phrase, overcoming objections, I want you to guide her through those fears that she's having, because they are real for her in that moment, right? And so you see, powerful questions can lead to powerful answers. And so I don't care if you are a product-based business, a service-based business, if you're a coach or you're not a coach, I want you to put on your coaching hat for this, because you have the power of asking powerful questions that are going to lead her to helping her make that faithful decision to find the truth and remove that cloud of fear. So let's dive into the 6 keys to being able to help her do that, because if she continues to make those decisions off of fear and we leave her in that fear place, that's not going to do us any good. So let's think about that in love and in faith. So the first key to empowering them to overcome their fear is to dig deeper. We've got to understand what's really going on. And you can say something like, "Would you mind telling me about that?" or "Tell me more." If you say that question, that is going to really help them to see what's going on deeper, because they may not even realize that that's coming from fear. So we want to go in deeper. The second key is to listen, right? Everyone talks about we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? But really listen to what they're saying, what they're not saying. Listen to their body language, like their tone of their voice, right? And look for their body language. Really listen, and they will tell you exactly what they need in order for you to help them best. And sometimes you may even need to say something like, "Oh, how so?" Or "Tell me more about that." Or, "Can you expound on that?" Or whatever that may be. But really listen to what they're saying. Listen for that fear and what kind of fear that may be, where that's coming from, all those types of things, right? So we've got the first key is dig in deeper. The second one is to really listen. The third one is to acknowledge and validate what they're going through. Remember how just a few minutes ago we were talking about how that fear in that moment to her is as real as her skin, right? And that's the thing, is that we want to acknowledge what they've said by repeating it back to them. So we want to say like, "Okay, it sounds like you're really going through this, and that's understandable because of this." Right? When we acknowledge what someone is saying, one, they understand that we understand. And two, when we say that's understandable, we may not be able to say like, "Oh, I totally get you," or "I understand." Sometimes that can actually offend people when you say that. And so we want to say that's understandable, because it is understandable based on their circumstances, right? And other people have felt that way too, or I've felt that way, or however you want to say it. But the thing is that it's not, our greatest need as human beings is not to be loved, it's to be understood. And so we want to make sure that we help them through this very vulnerable moment where they are coming face to face with their inner dream stealer, and that Satan and the adversary is really just, he's trying to stop them from taking that next step. Transformation is a terrifying thing for the adversary because he knows that that transformation is good with your product or service. So of course he's going to try to stop them. And they may not even realize that's what's happening. So acknowledge and validate. Now, key number 4 is get honest. Get honest, because we want to really be honest with each other. And, you could say something like, I know you said that that's a lot of money for you right now, but let me ask you, is it that you won't be able to feed your family or make your life miserable? Or is it something else that's stopping you? Guys, I hope you wrote that down, because that is incredibly powerful. A lot of times we just take the money objection and run with it, and it's like, oh, there's nothing I can do, right? Do you ever feel frustrated with money objections? I know I have. And so I'm going to read that again to you. I know you said that this money is a lot for you right now, but let me ask you, is it that you won't be able to feed your family, or that this will make your life miserable? Or is it really fear or something else stopping you? Let's get honest about it. Anytime you get the money objection, let's go there, because the money is the easiest thing to blame, right? Everyone's going to go for the money objection because that's like the one thing that nobody can touch, right? It's like, oh, if I say I can't afford it, then they're done. And that's a way to get me out because I'm uncomfortable because of this fear. So I'm just immediately going to just, bow out of that, right? But if we challenge that and we get brutally, I don't even want to say brutally, truthfully honest about it. Is it really that their money situation is such that it will impact their family? And we don't want to do that. We don't ever want to put someone in a difficult situation, financial or family or anything kind of wise, right? But what we do want to do is we want to stretch them a little bit and get past those fears. Because remember, we're not doing them any favors by buying into their excuses that they've told themselves, not in a combative way, but in a place of love and helping them to grow and get past those fears. That is what it's all about. So I want to see, so Jill says, great question. Love it. I want to see any more in the chat here. What are your thoughts about that question? Because it can be powerful if you use it the right way. Okay, key number 5 is challenge it with love. So do you mind if I ask you a question about that? Is a great way to start, right? And you said that you are afraid of blank, right? Failing. And that's completely understandable given your past experiences, right? We acknowledge and validate it. But do you think that with this program and the, accountability that it's providing you, that you didn't have before, that you would get the same results that you did before? Right? Challenge it with love. And here you can even tell them a testimonial or experience of somebody who's been in your program or bought your services or your products or whatever that may be. So really taking that to the next level. So let me kind of read that to you again. So you said that you're afraid of X. And that's completely understandable given your past experience. But do you think that with this program and blank, whatever that benefit is to them that's going to make that difference, in place that you didn't have before, that you would get the same results that you did before, right? We're helping them see that just because it happened in the past doesn't mean it has to continue happening. That is the thing, is that we're just going to help empower their mindset, empower their viewpoint, and empower them to make a decision based on faith instead of fear. We're going to focus on the positive things and the things that can bring them faith, as opposed to focusing on the fear. Sometimes in sales, we do want to poke the pain just a little bit to help them see that, but this is not the time. This is not the time to focus on that pain. This is the time to love on them. This is the time to empower them. So challenge it with love, right? Get honest and then challenge it with love. And then key number 6, which is extremely powerful, and do not miss this step I can't tell you how many times we've been training on sales and, we kind of just almost go crickets after that point and we don't actually ask for the sale. So ask for the sale. And I'm going to say, invite them to take the journey together. That is going to be that next step for them. They are looking at you to lead them to that transformation, even though it's scary for them, and especially because it's scary for them. So God is a God of inviting, guys, and it's a whole lot less scary when we do it with someone. So remind them that they don't have to do it alone, whether that's one-on-one coaching or group coaching, or, you have a community that you're inviting them to. Help them to see that this isn't that scary. They can really do this, right? And they don't have to do it on their own. So you could say something like, I don't think you'll get the same experience either. And I'm going to be with you every step of the way while you take this leap of faith and achieve your goal. How about we get you started, right? Invite them to that next step. It's going to be so crucial for them to take that next step right then and there. And we are acknowledging that this is a leap of faith. They, especially as coaches, or really even if you have a product, you can't guarantee anything, right? There's no guarantees that this is going to be that one thing that they're looking for that's going to completely transform and change their life. It does have the ability to do that, but that's up to them. But all you are doing is helping guide them through those things that are holding them back, and then inviting them to take it a step further with you. That's really what sales is all about, is you're inviting them to be able to serve them in an even bigger and better way. You can only do so much with freebies or with Facebook groups or something like that. But it's really, really powerful when you can get them part of your program and part of your package or products or whatever that may be. So help them to move past fear. We've got to go through that land of fear with them. We've got to see what's behind those dark corners, and we've got to be able to shine that light on it, because you are selling a transformation. That's how important this is, ladies. I don't care what your product or service is. You are selling a transformation. That's what that product or service really is all about, is that transformation. And it starts with the sales call. And I want to end with our biblical success principle, which is weird because I always start with it. But our biblical success principle today is in 2 Timothy 1:7. And I almost get choked up when I think about this scripture because it is so powerful. It says, "For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." Help them not focus on the fear, but something better, which is faith, right? That power is, what options do they really have? Empowering their mindset. That love is, what can we do to make this decision together in order to be able to help you find that transformation that you're looking for? And it's not that combativeness like most people think when it comes to sales or overcoming objections. You're going to guide them with love through those things that are holding them back. And a sound mind, to know that God and you are there for them every step of the way. Let's take this journey together. That is the difference between leading and convincing. We aren't convincing anyone to buy from us. We are leading them through those roadblocks that are holding them back from what they truly want. And you, my sister, have been given the talents, the gifts, the abilities, the experiences, the challenges, everything that sums up who you are in order to be able to help that specific person that you are on the phone with. And guys, I know it's scary. I know it's totally uncomfortable for us to push back a little bit on their objections, but you have to understand where it's coming from, and that's the adversary. The adversary is the complete opposite of all of this. He is a spirit of fear. He is a spirit of constriction and of devastation and taking them down. And so we get to be the other side. We get to help them make decisions for themselves based on faith. Because think about who's done that for you. Have you ever worked with a coach or bought a product or service where they didn't just take that first objection. I mean, even when we go into a retail store, the very first thing out of our mouth after the person asks us, how can I help you? Oh, I'm just looking, right? That we are always on our guard about sales. We want to buy, we don't want to be sold to. But the thing about it is that a lot of times it comes from fear, and fear holds us back from so much. And if you are feeling fearful about pushing back and, guiding them through those objections, take it to the Lord and ask for strength to be able to serve the other person even better, because I know He will. So I just want to leave that 2 Timothy 1:7 and really study that. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Those three things can help us to guide the right person through and make that decision based on faith instead of fear. So thank you so much for joining us for the Divinely Driven Results show today. And if you want more and you're not part of our Faithful Ladypreneurs Facebook group, come join us. It's a great Christian ladypreneur community where we get to love on you. You get to learn more amazing tips and tricks about how to build your business in the Lord's way. You can also share your offers in our Sales Offer Saturday post. And be sure to hit me up if you want to know how you can actually post in that group of over 1,300 ladies. And then also for your sales, I should say. And then also, if you're ready to take your business to the next level by partnering with God, utilizing biblical business strategy, which are Fortune 500 company principles fed through the lens of the Bible so that you can truly fulfill that purpose God's given you, then make sure you go to divinelydrivenresults.com and book a strategy session with us here today. Thanks so much, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. And Jill, Mary Beth, thank you guys so much for your interaction. Barbara, you guys are absolutely amazing. So we will see you next time on the Divinely Driven Results live show.